If we look at this, when you look at Kiffin, the guy is he's been a mastermind offensively for 3+ years. But if you go back to the Chattanooga game and down and since, Alabama has looked bad. We've had 3 really bad games, offensive games in a row. We're not getting better offensively. And yesterday we heard a lot of things about why they didn't do it. But all of you who complained yesterday about the offensive performance on Saturday, you talked about the offensive line looked out of sorts. You talked about delay of game penalties. You talked about holding penalties. You talked about misalignment. You talked about a lot of things. But each one of those things can be related to lack of focus, lack of discipline, lack of direction. And on yesterday, I tried to point out that a coordinator's job and role is to put all of the players in the right position to take advantage of their strengths. Kiffin has not been doing that as of late. As good as Jalen Hurts is, he should have some things taken back from him. And what do I mean by that? I think on the run RPOs, run pass options, he's making the wrong choice too often. Because a lot of times you look to the sideline and you'll see Kiffin and Saban throw their hands up. That means it was a run and he called a pass. It was a pass and he called a run. Then he's misreading the read option. Let's take that away from him. Let's do what Auburn did a few years ago where you call it, sell it, make it look like it's the read option, but you're really calling the play. It's no different than calling a quarterback sweep with the fake. I mean, that's all it is. If you call the quarterback keeper, all it is you faking it and running it. So we need to take that away from his hands. We need to limit the field. We need to do a lot of things. But why did Kiffin have to go? I think it's deeper than what you and I see every day on the field. I typed on yesterday on the response to Facebook, I said there's trouble in paradise. I don't know how bad it is. I don't claim to be a guy, even though I played at Alabama. The only time I go to that complex is on Mondays for media days. I don't go hang out. I don't try. I'm not that guy. But I've seen and I watch and I can observe and see how coaching staffs interact. This one doesn't offensively. So there was problems in paradise on the offensive side of the ball. Number one, a house divided cannot stand. And this house was beginning to crumble. And it could have crumbled on its own before next Monday. So that tells you how bad did things have to be for Saban to create his own distraction. I mean, there was this is a distraction. Don't question yourself. It's a distraction. But the question is it a lesser distraction than Kiffin being there? And the only way it could be, to me, I don't know anything, guys. I'm not saying anything, so please don't. This is not like gospel truth. But this was such a big distraction that Nick Saban felt his team was better off bringing in a different, he's new, but it's more different than new, offensive coordinator to an existing scheme who knows and understands the existing players. So when I look at that, it tells me that there was a cancer internally that was so bad and spreading so fast that it was like a cancerous tumor, and you can treat it and hope it works, but you got a deadline. And if it doesn't work in the next 3 to 4 days, it's going to cost you what you've worked on all year. Or you can go in and surgically cut out the cancer and hope that removing the cancer revives life, and gives life. Now, who was that cancer impacting? I believe the cancer was impacting the coaching staff offensively and defensively. But you know who else I think it was impacting? I think it was impacting the players. I think the players were impacted by this cancer. They see what's going on. They see what's going on. They hear what's being said. And I believe that was a distraction. And Saban believes that getting rid of him was less of a distraction than keeping him. And that distraction he's focused on is who? His players. And I believe that's why Kiffin had to go. Do I think there's an advantage to it? Absolutely. I think the advantage is it just created a nightmare for Clemson. I've listened to other hosts say, oh, this is a bad choice. This is a bad decision. No, it's not. No, it's not. I played on a team in 1991. Alabama's playing Colorado. Mal Moore is the offensive coordinator. He gets hit, knocked down, hits his head, gets a concussion. We're struggling offensively. Larry Kirksey picks up the playbook and starts calling the play, and we look like a totally new, more explosive offensive team. Why? Because the way he called the game. And why was he able to step in? Because he knew the players and the players knew him. But he had never called plays. But it still worked because there was a relationship there. The advantage Alabama has is they're not bringing in a new offensive coordinator. They're not bringing in a guy who's never been a head coach. They're bringing in an experienced head coach who's been an offensive coordinator who runs an offensive scheme and philosophy and mentality more like Saban than Kiffin. And, oh, yeah, for all you who keep saying, and I'm going to get on this tomorrow, all you who keep saying this is a rematch, it's the same teams, but it's not a rematch any longer. We have a new offensive coordinator, and we have a new defensive coordinator. They have film on our defensive coordinator, but they've never seen an aggressive Alabama defense with this much talent. It will be different for Deshaun Watson. And they may know what plays we run, but they don't know when we run them. They don't know if Sark will run on first down, throw on first down, line up in the I, line up in ace with two tight ends. They don't know if he's going to run spread. They don't know what he's going to do. They just know what we've done. And we'll still do the same things, but the tendencies are no longer going to be there. Alabama is better off with Sark as the offensive coordinator